Today's session, we're going to really give you hope that you can change after narcissistic abuse. I want to explain why you must know that no matter what happens, don't give up on yourself and things can change. How you feel can change. What we have been through is so hard. It's important to understand that it's not just one experience that we've been through, it's a number of things that have happened over a period of time. And because of that, no matter how competent you are, when we experience something over time, we've created new habits without knowing, without being conscious of it. We thought we're the same person that we started off as before we met the narcissist once we get out of that relationship. Using the analogy of the frog that is getting boiled to death is so important in understanding what's actually happened. If you get a frog and you put them into water and you very slowly increase the heat up, it can get boiled to death. Now, the thing with the frog is it can jump out of the water at any point, but it doesn't. Why? Why does it not jump out of that water, that hot pot of water? It's because it doesn't know what's happening to it. It's so subtly done that it actually doesn't know until it's too late. We have to accept that habits are a big part of who we are today. If we have experienced something, we can look to habits that, okay, we've created this habit of success, of reading or learning, but we've also created habits of maybe believing that maybe we're not good enough or hearing that we're not good enough. So we have to look, after we've been in a toxic relationship, what are we doing habitually? How do we think, feel, and what do we do habitually? Habits not just about what you do, it's also about what you think about, what you feel. Narcissistic abuse changes us. So many people are told the myth of time heals. It doesn't change you. Time doesn't stop you changing your habits. You have to proactively go and change your habits. And that is the saddest part about narcissistic abuse, is that if you've endured something over a period of time, if you don't change how you think and feel, your life will not change to represent your true potential. And that's what we're here for, is for you to recognize your true potential. And once you change your habits, you change the course of your life. So many people are suffering right now. They're used to feeling bad and pretending everything's okay. They're struggling and they're pretending they're happy because when you've been in a narcissistic relationship, that's what you've been taught to do. You've been taught to struggle and pretend everything's okay. Let's break this down in terms of the science. The best part is you can heal, you can turn things around for yourself for the positive, and you can build on that every day if you can change your habits in terms of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Most of what we do on a daily basis is estimated around 70 to 90% of our waking behavior is actual habitual behavior. So it's really important for you to reflect on this. People can change. You know that. You know that. If you can change our habitual habits, we can change in a short space of time something that could impact us for the rest of our life. So, hence, it's really important, if you want to bounce back after a narcissistic abuse, to really examine what it is that you habitually think and feel and do so you can move forward in the way that you want to. Hence, why it's important to look at research such as whoever we spend the most amount of time with, the five most people we spend the most time with, are basically the people that we are impacted with by, because they impact how we feel, what we think, and what we do. So let's look at our habits and look at how habits are formed. Yeah, some habits are easily formed and others are harder to form. Some habits are easy to break and some habits are harder to break. Trauma bonds are quite difficult to break, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't start off small and create a different habit that helps you break the way you feel and what you're thinking. It could be that you listen to this podcast. Some research says that you need 21 days to break a habit. Some say 18, some say 30, some say 60 days. What we can tell from this in terms of research is it depends. It depends on the habit that you're trying to break. What habit are you trying to break? Let's look at this in a more deeper way. Philippa Lally is a health psychologist and she's a researcher at University College in London. She conducted a really effective and deep study on habit formation. The same habit to be formed can take anywhere between 18 days and as many as 254 days for a different habit to be formed. Now, from that, we can see that it could take this year for you to change your habit, or it could be as little as the next 18 days. So, what I'd like to do is take the scientific literature of how our nervous system learns and look at how our brain changes, and that's neuroplasticity. The brain is can be changed, and plasticity is like it can be molded and changed. For a habit to be formed, we need to maintain a habit, not only form it, but also maintain it. Remember, we have been maintaining a habitual thinking pattern every day. When we've been around a narcissist, we might not know we're walking on eggshells. That's become a habit. And we want to break certain particular habits. Not all habits. I want to really put this caveat in because there will be some habits in you that are so helpful. Perhaps your positive thinking, perhaps your ability to forgive. Some of these habits are actually positive, but I'd like to give you a particular tool today that is gleaned from research and psychological literature that every single time you repeat a habit, you can change what happens in your brain, and then what changes impacts the way you fulfill a particular habit. And what we're going to look at is something called procedural memory. Okay, so let's look at what is procedural memory. I'm throwing out a lot of words today. Procedural memory is just a type of long-term memory that involves an automatic performance, such as, riding a bike. Certain types of things that you do that you can go into autopilot. It's like you might be going shopping and you go to the supermarket and you're going down the same aisles and you know where everything is. You're not particularly consciously aware of what's going on around you. You just know how to do it. It's like driving a car. It's a sequence of events. It's a specific sequence of things that get triggered. When you see a red light, you know to slow down and you stop at the traffic lights. It's a specific sequence of events that's in your long-term memory. It's called procedural memory. So in order for a particular outcome to occur, think of it as like a recipe. It's how you carry out something. And it's important to look at our emotions as well as thinking, because we'll note that maybe there's an emotion and then it triggers a way of thinking, and then it triggers a certain action that you take. Now, there is something really important for us to know about procedural memory. There's something called the limbic friction. Limbic friction, in simple words, is where there's two sides of something. There's a conflict between what I should do and what I feel like doing. It's like a battle of wills played out. And in between, there's an alleyway that is like called the limbic friction. So there's two sides. Should I have that piece of broccoli or should I have that pizza? Should I stay with a narcissist or should I go? Is it the short-term gain or the long-term gain? What is it? And the limbic friction, depending on how strong the limbic friction is what can prevent us from actually getting to the long-term goals. So we need to reduce the limbic friction. It's not about squashing those desires, but recognizing that we will have two sides and then learning how to navigate those two sides. And I particularly think this is so important when we're dealing with narcissism, because there is two sides of everything. You want to heal and you don't want to heal. You want to leave and you don't want to leave. You want to be happy, but you don't want to be happy. I know it sounds crazy, but there is a part of you that doesn't want to heal and you do want to heal. One thing you can do is a simple visualize exercise. You don't even have to do it with your eyes closed. You don't have to get into, being the Buddha and closing your eyes and getting into the lotus position, because I know a lot of us find it really difficult to still our mind when we've been in toxic relationships. But you want to visualize something. And it doesn't need to be anything major, to get into that mindset. It can be something simple. Say if you're trying to adopt a new habit, I want you to think about the kind of specific sequences, the steps that you need to take so that you can learn about what it is that you need to do. But before we do that, we need to look at what we have been doing already. Look at and observe yourself. What happens when you get triggered? So you need to see what the narcissist does and how do you react? What happens to you? This is very important. Not so much, we focus so much of our time on what the narcissist is doing, but we need to look at what happens before, during, and after we get triggered, so that then we can then visualize what we do next time, before, during, and after, and insert something that is going to be different. You might need to create a log so you can start to see the trends and the processes of when you get triggered, when you get affected, when you feel down. You know those times where you feel like you've been kicked in the stomach and it hurts so bad? Maybe you need to log what happened before, what did they do, and the impact that it had on you after. Then we can start making some changes. We have to create a particular circuit in our brain, because what it is, there is already a particular circuit in our brain that initiates a certain habit, a certain habitual way of being, feeling, and thinking. Imagine it like a sandwich. We love sandwiches in the UK. There's something before, the bread before, then there's the actual event, the meat or the main part of the sandwich, and then the bread after. It's like brackets. It's called task bracketing. In everything we do, any habit, it's dependent on something. Yeah. So it could be that you find that everything in your life is great apart from your relationship with your narcissist. And as soon as you go to work, you turn into a new person, and that's like task bracketing. Yeah. So you get a habitual response is that you become someone different. It's only in the relationship with a narcissist, in that particular area of your life, that you're struggling. And that is where the devaluation is occurring. Now, the thing is, what we need to look at is, where in your life are you being devalued? If it's just in with a narcissist, that's fine. And you can switch from place to place. But if you find that it's starting to, the habit is getting stronger, you will find that it's going into different areas of your life. So it's not just at home, but you're starting to feel disrespected at work. It's not just at home, you're feeling anxiety, but you're starting to feel anxious when you're at work or when you're with a friend, or you're starting to notice that there's more people around you that are devaluing you, or you're attracting more narcissists into your life. That means that it's become more habitual, this pattern, yeah, this and then you see different scenarios where you're feeling these negative triggers and emotions. So some of the things that never used to trigger you might start triggering you for that reason. What that means is it's not that there's something wrong with you, it just means that feeling and thought pattern is becoming more of a habit, a stronger habit, because you're living in a narcissistic abusive relationship. So it's getting more deeply embedded into your way of being. Okay. So it's like brushing your teeth. It might be that, you automatically do it and you don't realize it. Before, you were more conscious of what the narcissist said and you were more conscious of how you reacted. But now it's becoming more of a habit in terms of how you feel and think, and the way you're being. So we have to, when we're healing from narcissistic abuse, we have to be really understanding and loving towards ourselves, because we've picked up some habits that we want to change. Now, habits are just habits. You can change them. You don't have to live with them. It's not like you've changed as a person. It's just that it's become a habit to feel sad. It's become a habit to feel more anxious because of what you've had to deal with on a daily basis. So be loving, be understanding, and know that you can change. So task bracketing is kind of like a fingerprint in your brain. If a certain thing happens, it doesn't matter what particular time of day, it will sort of create this chain of events. So that's why being understanding and loving is so important. So now, as you are starting to heal and you're becoming more and more aware of what's happening, you will notice that you're not in control of how you think and feel and act. This is so important to become aware of, because this is where you can start to see, okay, what habits do I want to change in my healing process? How many times do I feel like this? And what can I do about it? And if you find that you're breaking the habit down, you're making progress. Now, if you've still got your narcissist in your life and you're making progress and you're healing, know that they will notice. So you will need to protect yourself and prepare yourself for this as well. Visualization exercises will help you in this. It can also help you orient your nervous system towards task bracketing. And I'm going to give you something to help you navigate this, something practical that you can do. So once you know what your pattern is and you've started to observe it and you can see that you have created this habit that you want to change, then you can start changing the habit so that your nervous system doesn't react in the same way that it used to react. So then you can visualize, this is what I want it to do instead of what it is doing. So you're kind of like warming up your body to not reacting. There's something called DLS that's basically a region of the brain that helps in executing habits in a familiar sensory context. So a certain scenario, it will engage and it's been primed already to engage in a particular habit. So when you can get consciously aware of what your habit is, you can then insert a different habit that you want to perform. Okay, so just bear with me on this one. It's really useful to think about this as a process that you go through, right? And also think about what it is that you want to happen at the end of the habit instead of what you have been doing. Let's do something really simple and something that I love, because I love chocolate. If you imagine it like you don't want to eat as much chocolate, what you want to do is say, okay, um, I'm going to be, I've had a bad day. I'm feeling emotional. Um, I'm going to have some chocolate. And I go for the chocolate, but I know I don't want to eat the chocolate. Instead of getting annoyed at myself that I've had some chocolate, I need to insert, once I've seen my process, a new habit. And the new habit is I'm going to go and dance and let go and have some fun instead because I'm doing a little bit of exercise and I'm feeling good. What that will do is once I've seen my process and I've inserted a new thing that I'm going to do is I will start to feel better and more in control of myself. So what you're doing is it's like you're shining a spotlight around the whole habit, the whole event. And you're also giving yourself a really good feel good hormone of dopamine associated with that bad habit, whatever it was. So, what does this look like on a practical sense? So, again, we'll try and use something really simple. Instead of only feeling good when the narcissist is okay, you can allow yourself to get the dopamine hit in a different way by doing something healthy, by releasing the tension in your body, maybe going for a walk, or say if you're trying to break down your trauma bond. I think this is really powerful because you might then look at how does your trauma bond work. Yeah, so it might be that you keep picking up your phone to try and see what they're doing. And if you find yourself, you have picked up your phone, you have looked at what their social media has, what they're doing on social media, you put the phone down and you then do that habit that is positive. Might be to go off and dance, might be to drink some water, might be you really read some religious texts or something, or you listen to something that lifts you up. You see, all of this has been written in a lot of the sort of religious texts and by the mystics, where they say, become aware, start believing and visioning what it is that you want. Ask, believe, receive. If you are able to identify your state of mind and the sequence of events that lead up to something that you want to stop doing, rather than it being something negative and you start beating yourself up every single time that you do, you want to use it as a unique opportunity to insert something different, a new adaptive behavior where you can believe that you can get what you want in 2024. So it's not in line with the old behavior, but you're breaking it down and you're taking it in stages. This is an act of self-love, really. It's because you're being accepting, you're being compassionate, you're being understanding towards yourself, and being a good friend to yourself. For example, you want to go out with friends and you don't want to feel like you're thinking and talking about the narcissists anymore and how they've dragged you down all the time. You don't want to do that because you feel tired every single time you've been there. You don't get the joy. You want to laugh more. It could be that you insert a new habit, that you have a new habit of every single time I talk about the narcissist, I'm going to tell a joke. And I'm going to tell everyone that I don't want to talk about them anymore. I want to have fun with you. I want to connect with you. I want to enjoy the time that we have together because I find that energizes me more. So then they know that you're wanting to make this change and that if they bring him up or her up, they have to tell a joke. If you bring them up, you have to tell a joke. So you're changing something into something more joyful, something that you're getting more out of life and you're moving towards where you want to be. It's so effective. And it means that you can take a negative habit now and turn it into a positive habit now. It has two major effects is that you start to link it to time. So you can see events, you can see how you operate more, and the kind of behaviors that you want to stop. So you're shining a light of consciousness already onto that, what you're currently doing. So it's easier for you to change it. But also, you're moving towards what you want to be, who you're meant to be, because you're inserting something, a new way of being into your neural circuits, into your brain. And you're starting to dismantle the sequence that was there before. So it's kind of it's like for a little while you have like a double habit. It starts with you don't want to do it, and then it ends with what you do want to do. And then eventually, over time, you'll find that you'll be doing what you want to do before you even pick up the phone or before you pick up the chocolate. You'll be doing it, you'll stop yourself before you even start. So that's the beauty of this process. So the bad habit becomes more apparent to you. So you reflectively don't pick up the phone. You don't check your ex's social media or call them. So that's what is so good about this. You actually can put the phone down. You can start to engage in something that is much more positive. Like, could be as simple as drinking a glass of water. Now, this is subjective, so I don't want to give you what you should be doing instead. Just really connect with what it is that you want. Do you want to get healthier? Then maybe a glass of water is something easy. You can do it anywhere and any time, yeah? So do something specific to you. It could be that you really want to learn how to sing. Then spend 5 minutes singing. It's something that you deem important to you and positive to you and energizes you. So you're not seeing yourself as doing a bad habit anymore. You're not devaluing yourself in your own mind, but you're actually seeing the value in you all the time. This is why you're building your understanding, your compassion towards yourself. And that is so important. You know what I'm going to say? You need to be more loving towards yourself and know that you are brave, you are courageous, and you are here. It's been no easy task getting here after narcissistic abuse. And Rumi is right. Always remember, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you've ever imagined. If you know that you want to heal, then do look in the resources section. I do have a program that is called Heal to Thrive. It's limited. There's only certain numbers I take on each month. But if it is something you want and you are serious about investing in yourself and you want to heal and you want your 2024 to be a completely different year for you, you want the rest of your life to be completely different, and you want to break these habits down, you want to feel good, you want to think the way you want to think and feel more in control of yourself and find who you are so you thrive, then do look in the resources section, download the masterclass, and perhaps you can apply for the Heal to Thrive program. But whatever you do, be loving to yourself. It's so important. You are worth it. You're worth so much more than you realize. Till next time, much love.